So Horikoshi must be picking up on all the horny vibes that is going to Lady Nagant because chapter 314 is titled The Lovely Lady Nagant. And I'm just like, Horikoshi, you know what I'm about. There's a reason why I follow you on Twitter. It's just like, you know what I'm about. You can't draw somebody with a body like that and just, like, I get it. I get it. There's a social commentary behind her character and all that, but you can't draw a girl that bad and not have people thirsting over her. She just looks too good. And it's not even like she's showing off an extreme amount of skin. And it's just like a dress and a fairly tight-fitting shirt. Like, you can see any girl wearing something like this, but it just looks so good on her. But, okay, so something that I actually have to correct from my last review is the fact that apparently the ability Fujin, I thought that was the name of the third wielder of One for All, but no, that's the name of the quirk. It's all about kinetic energy. That is literally the name of the quirk, and I'm just like, why isn't it just called like kinetic or something like that? What a weird name for a quirk, but that's neither here nor there. Using that ability, Deku has managed to grab a hold of the lovely Lady Nagant and just bursting through a building like the Kool-Aid Man. Oh yeah! A lot of that happening with these past week's chapters. Very interesting. But both of them just kind of thinking about the fact that it's just like, okay, their opponents are actually fairly skilled with their multiple quirk use. So a little bit of respect to a certain degree. But Deku, he kind of starts counting his chickens before they hatch. And he's just like, yes, I've managed to get up close and personal. That's the best way to handle a sniper. You're caught. Tell me everything you know about All for One. And Nagant, being the professional that she is just like, well, that's where you're wrong, kid. As she just retracts her gun, redirects it, expands it back out again, and it just smacks Deku away. I'm just like, dang, this girl is good. This girl is really good. And as she's just like, yeah, you're not catching me. The Safety Commission taught me everything I know. So she was very much in the same position as Hawks, honestly. And actually, it's very, very fascinating how deeply her story parallels Hawks and all the ways that Hawks' life could have really gone wrong had he not kind of had that, I guess, tragic background, as it were. Like, but again, he's only been so involved as we find out she's been steeped in a lot of the stuff that Hawks used to be involved in. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the moment that she fell out of the Public Safety Commission and all that, Hawks was immediately brought in to replace her. That's kind of what I'm picking up on all of this. And Deku, not knowing anything about her, wants to kind of get to know, why is she doing this? Why would you work for someone like One for All? I mean, All for One. He's like, he's gonna take over the world. Weren't you a hero? Don't you know how bad that is? And then she just kind of, airwalks away in order to get into the shadows to get a few more vantage points and all of that. And she's just like, yeah, look, kid, this order that we had for the longest time, you see how easily it fell apart? It was only ever a manufactured piece. It was just the fact that people were so completely taken off guard when it just crumbled away, and how they just turned on the heroes as soon as they heard that the heroes had to get their hands a little dirty, doesn't that ring any kind of alarms for you? Doesn't that make you think that, maybe the fact that we kept so many people in the dark about what we were trying to do, what we were doing in secret, the fact that they weren't gelling with it, shouldn't that have told us something deep down? Yeah, so she's ready to start speaking some truth. And she's also firing at Deku from every position. Like, he's just barely managing to avoid her. He's losing his pouches with all of his supplies and stuff, and a lot of his first aid supplies too. And the fact that a lot of her rounds also have speakers in them as well, that they play a little bit of misdirect when they hit certain places. So, Deku dodges out of one, her voice comes out of there. He dodges another one, her voice comes out of there. Like, it's such a fascinating game of mystery. Not to mention she's playing some wanted shit because her bullets can like curve and go around corners and stuff like that. If you ever seen the movie Wanted, it's not that great, honestly, but I mean, it has Angelina Jolie in it if you're into that kind of stuff. But she's curving these bullets all around Deku, firing from multiple angles, and also just kind of giving her backstory. It's just like, mostly that she had just killed so many people in the background. It was all in order to preserve their society. And even people who were just planning on doing something wrong that might have, potentially cost a lot of people their lives, she would kill them off. And even when it came to more minor offensives, like heroes who are doing something a little shady, if it was something that the Safety Commission wanted to disappear, she'd make them disappear. And, she even goes on to say, back during the day, vigilantes, played the role of hero and won people's trust. And, and the country paid them well in order to keep doing that. However, the trust of the people, that whole thing, there was a lot that had to be done in order to maintain that trust. The Billboard charts and all that good stuff, that's a shaky thing. These heroes get to go around with their mightier than thou attitudes and all that because people like the lovely Lady Nagant here, she was the one who kept all the dirty stuff off of the table. The people who were real big crime bosses and all that. It does raise the question why she never went off after All for One, but hell, would have been potentially that she was never able to fully get to him, honestly. Might have been on the list, but he might have just invaded capture. He's just that good. But, not to mention, a lot of people thought that All Might had finished him off. Well, All Might thought he finished him off, so might have even been that people thought he was dead, ultimately. But, she would just execute people left, right, and center. Even the ones who would beg for their lives. She bathed in their blood almost. And she obeyed at every turn, but when it came to her public face, the face of a hero, the face that she wanted to have, when it came to greeting children and, keeping up her PR, all she could see was the blood on her hands. I love that imagery. It's such a terrible imagery where she's reaching out towards these children and then she looks at her hands and they look like they're covered with blood and these children are clamoring to just shake her hand or something like that. And she's literally having a mental breakdown because it's just like she's like, I'm a phony, I'm a sham. Like, you see her in her room that it barely has anything in it, and she's just destroyed because of all the people that she's killed, all the things that she's done. She has these incredibly sad looking eyes that just speak a number of her loneliness, her sadness, her regret at the person that she's turned into. She's literally become just a hired gun for the Safety Commission. And you even get to see the former head of the Safety Commission doling out new orders to her about these, heroes who have been, trying to get ordinary citizens to commit crimes so that they can hunt them down in order to, collect rewards. And it's just like, he's just like, they're about to go missing. And she's just like, but is killing them really the way to, like, yes, what they're doing is wrong, but is killing them actually what we should be doing? Like, is that really the path of all of this? That doesn't seem right. And then the guy immediately snaps back at us saying that, listen, we don't need you to think. we're trying to preserve the people's faith in heroes. We're trying to make sure that this hero society never reaches any kind of conclusion. We need to maintain this world that we live in. And she's just like, what, isn't this just brainwashing? The people think that, it's all just sunshine and rainbows, all the time, every time, but that's not true. That's far from the truth. Shouldn't the people have a right to know, what's going on, at least to some degree? But then the guy just goes on to say, it's just like, well, look, you need to understand. This isn't a job you can simply walk away from. And I love this paneling where you see this shot of her talking, and then we just see another shot, but it's the same shot, but it's a little closer. And another shot, and it's a little bit closer, as she's just coming more and more into this realization that she has no choice but to just execute the head of the Public Safety Commission. And she took him out. That was the thing that ultimately got her taken in. That she ultimately executed the head of the Public Safety Commission. Not for killing another hero or anything like that, the thing that the people put out there. No. She got put into Tartarus because she had gotten fed up with what she was being forced to do. And Deku's just like, wait, wouldn't that have made the news or something to some degree? But she's just like, of course not. What do you think they were all about? Internal disputes and mutiny? Of course they would never let the public know something like that. You can't be that ignorant to what was really going on behind the scenes. I swear to God, this is speaking so much about our current culture. It's just like, look, superpower society, it's a daydream. It's fragile. It was always going to fall apart. You think the fall of All Might, the revelations about, Endeavor and Hawks and all that, you think that was, if it wasn't any of that, it would have been something else down the line. It was always going to collapse. Maintain the status quo, going back to the status quo. History is just going to repeat itself. There's always going to be someone drawn in to keep the peace, that's kept under the table, that's kept out of sight, so that the people can go about their happy lives maintaining the lie. But there's always going to be someone suffering in the shadows because of that. And when they're done with you, they'll throw you away. When they have no use for you, when you think for yourself, when you start asking questions, they'll want you to disappear. And that's juxtaposed against when the Safety Commission, we even see the current president, when she was, I guess, a little bit younger, the one female we keep seeing from time to time in a lot of Hawks flashbacks and talking to Hawks here and there. We even see her behind the president when they were recruiting Nagant when she was a high schooler. And she looked so happy because it seemed like she was going to be able to prove herself, to really do something great for Hero Society. And that's juxtaposed to her in the present day, who has just completely lost all faith in Hero Society, no longer sees it as something that's a positive, any good, that it just needs to crumble. It all needs to just fade away. And, Deku actually does manage to just find her, despite all the talking, despite everything. He's able to use Black Whip in order to almost catch her. He almost catches her, but he manages to catch the building behind her and goes racing towards it by attaching Black Whip to a building in the background. And, Negan has to give her props. It's just like, wow, after all of that, he was able to still figure out my location from the trajectory of all of my shots. Geez, this kid's pretty impressive. But Deku does say, as he's approaching her at lightning speed, I have been ignorant. You are right about that. But I'm starting to kind of see the way things are from your perspective. That's not all black and white, that there are multiple shades of gray. From the situation with Tomura Shigaraki and his background, the fact that, he was someone who was swept under the rug, not taken in by anyone but the bad guys and all that, how that made him feel, the situation with the people who have lost faith in heroes and decided to rise up themselves, Endeavor's whole ass, and the one, giant girl who looked kind of like a monster who he saved, who, because people just assumed she was a villain who had escaped, but no, she was just a person trying to get to help. But he feels that that's why he should help more than ever, that he should at least try his hardest to do the right thing and make it count where it can. Now, of course, Lady Negan, as jaded as she is, just does not see that as he sees that as that's propaganda. You've been brainwashed. You just don't know what is really going to take to maintain what these people are after. Though she does still kind of give him props for his abilities and what he's able to do. And he's been backed into enough of a corner that she points her rifle specifically at someone off in the distance. And when, Deku peeks over to see who it is, he sees Chisaki yelling out, "Are you done yet? We gotta get to the boss." I'm just like, Chisaki, what you doing there, buddy? And it seems like she's using him kind of as a hostage, maybe? I'm not sure. It's really kind of hard to tell what she's planning with all of this, but, if she's using him, but the fact that she thinks that Deku will go over and save him, she's damn right. He probably will step in front of the bullet in order to preserve a life, even one like Chisaki's. So what do you think is going to happen? And what do you think of the lovely Lady Nagant? Do you find that she's ultimately justified in her feelings towards Hero Society? Or do you think that she's just kind of missing the point, that maybe she was ultimately always going to be a villain in the end? And do you think she'll actually take the shot in order to get at Deku? Is Chisaki's days numbered despite the fact that he's only just gotten out of jail? Just have to see next time. But tell me your thoughts, theories in the comment section below. If you like this video, give me a like, subscribe, bell, all that good stuff. Or don't. I ain't your daddy, but I still love you like one. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.